it hit like 100 million plays in just like 2 days. Emails I can't even count. I can't really pinpoint a moment where I wanted to ever quit.
That's why you chose to do this. If you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
Calm down, slow down, expectations of how hard it's going to be, how slow your path to success is going to be. You're never gonna know for sure if you are doing something right or if you've made it at all.
Well, Claire, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you taking the time for being here. So you were in one part of one of the programs with 2080 Ventures, and then really loved what you were doing. I know what DotaMind is creating. It's remarkable, like how it really changed the way boring surveys are done. It's amazing because when I saw your completion rate to the traditional way people do surveys, it's really high. In a few words, if you can tell us like what DotaMind does, it'd be great to hear.
Thank you. So our survey builder is called Smore. Surveys are boring. It's something that I don't even need to try to convince or explain. And in a way very tragic because we live in a world where direct communication with your customers, listening to the raw feedback of your customers is becoming increasingly important. But surveys are so boring, and that means they become like such a ingrained part of the monotonous grayscale backdrop of the internet world that no one pays attention to them anymore. And this is where we come in. And what we do is allow companies to gamify their surveys, make them interactive, and essentially make them be experienced like a piece of game or an enjoyable piece of content, something that not only is flashy and grabs attention, but it's something that can genuinely provide customers with a differentiated experience. So we sort of summarize ourselves as Canva for surveys. You can build amazing looking, gorgeous, interactive, fun surveys without having to write a single line of code. We do have the highest completion rate when it comes to surveys and forms in the market, which is somewhere between 60 to 90%.
That's great. So like I've seen this definitely throughout my time is whenever I'm getting emails, right? I'm not bothered to take those surveys. And even if like I am, it's like a huge amount. Like for example, users are giving $500 to $100 to complete a survey, which in some cases becomes really expensive if you're trying to get people to complete some fashion or form where you want to collect some data. So how did you come up with this idea?
We actually started with a piece of product that allowed users to build like mini games. And without even bridging our users or providing them with any resources, we noticed that our users were actually using our tool as survey tools. This goes way back. So back in the day when my co-founders and I first were brainstorming, hey, like what could we do with our lives? We were throwing all sorts of ideas, and one out of 20 different things we tried went viral online. And that was like a little fun piece of interactive quiz that we just made for fun. Went viral. We thought, okay, let's like try this again. We made a couple more. It was like trending on Twitter, like ranking number one for days. So we thought, hey, like this is maybe something that people like. And then we had all these like big brands reach out to us saying, hey, can you build like a mini game for us as well? Because obviously you guys are really great at making stuff go viral. You guys understand what users like, what Gen Z and Gen Z customers like. So we started as a marketing agency, and then the sheer volume of demand that we were getting was too big for just three of us to cover. So we thought, let's give them a tool so they can build mini games themselves, and we don't have to work 100-hour work week. And so we developed a piece of software, gave it to them, where it took off from. And essentially, it was just like a fun interactive quiz builder. And then people were sort of starting to use it as a survey builder. So to experiment, we introduced some like features that could help our product be used as a survey builder. And that increased our retention, our revenue. So it was sort of like a gradual process rather than us like finding a problem. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see, right? I think like the origination of these type of surveys really came from BuzzFeed, right? They were able to democratize how these surveys are created, where people actually go in and finish these Quizlets. So speaking of getting some early customers, right? Let's talk about like your business model. How do you make money?
We are a subscription software. We have two paid plans with differentiated access to our features. So we have a basic plan and a premium plan, each valued at $45 and $95 a month.
Okay, that's great. So let's talk about a little bit of backstory, right? When did you launch this company?
So when we first built our product, we had no idea how to do marketing. We had no idea like how to promote our product at all. So we just started very organically. We would join these online forums. We joined group chats, these like group cacao chats where startup people hung out. We joined Facebook groups and just said, we built this product. This is what you could do with our product. If you're interested, sign up to our beta. We also got very lucky, and our amazing CTO had built a product that really can convince people on its own.
What year did you start it? Can you tell us like when this company was started? I know you guys pivoted a lot to what it became now, but it went essentially when did you started the company?
The three of us, the three co-founders, have gone through like multiple pivots together, but this very idea was born in winter of 2021.
Okay.
So it's January of 2021. And then around April was when we started our closed beta. And then June was when our open beta was started. And September was when we monetized the product.
So you touched a little bit about this, right? And I think for a lot of startups, getting the first few users are the hardest. Do you remember for this particular product, how hard was it to get the first users? And when you did, right? Maybe it wasn't hard. How did you get them?
Mm. I remember I was looking at Google Analytics and we were thrilled when we hit 30 active users. Oh my God, 30 people are looking at our website and this is amazing. I remember that feeling. It was really hard to get people to sign up and gain traction as a free product. And then it was really fortunate for us because after about a month of our product being launched, we found this Korean version of Product Hunt called Disquiet, and they
Okay.
were also a really, really new product as well. I think they had only been launched for a few months as well. So there weren't a lot of, I mean, there was some level of competition, but it wasn't as fierce as Product Hunt. But at the same time, it had been around for long enough to be noticed by a lot of VCs and a lot of the star players in the industry. So we launched our product on Disquiet and we managed to rank number one for a few weeks. And that's where it started to like sort of take off.
Wow.
Another thing that we did was our product has an embedded like viral growth engine into it. So every piece of form content created with us has a branding made with Dota embedded on the bottom of it. So that's like great for exposure. We don't have to really work as hard to promote ourselves. If we can just make our users succeed, then that helps us to grow. We had a quiz built by one of our users go really viral. Like it hit like 100 million plays in just like 2 days in September of 2021. And that's when we got like an influx of users signing up. And then they were all saying, I love your product. I would love to pay if you gave me this feature. So we got like a lot of really quality user feedback. And one was like the biggest thing they wanted was the analytics. And that's why we were able to monetize our product really quickly, just in 3 months.
I think now the most of the customers that are coming in is because you have that type of branding that comes with each of your surveys. And then whenever users sees an interesting survey, they click on it. What is some of the advice you will give? And what are the channels they should go after to get like their first 10, the first 100, the first 1,000 users?
Because early startup teams will have two, three people working on the growth aspect. And I think it's really important to like divide and conquer. For each of us would like really focus on one area and one channel of growth. But because we had three people on our team working on different sides, that means like we could tap into multiple channels together. So the three different areas that we sort of like our three pronged approach, I guess, was to first acquire these like flagship big brand names as customers. So one of our very first paying customers were companies like Hive, the home of BTS, Hive Entertainment, like companies like Spotify. And yeah, we just, it with a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work, we were able to acquire those big brand names. But at the same time, we also worked very hard on forming a grassroots basis among like early stage startup founders and those like pioneers in the area, like product managers and marketers who are always looking for like the next new thing. And they are the people who love and enjoy introducing their newest discovery to other people in the community. So we were able to profile those sort of like influencers in the area and target them as well. And then the third engine or the third prong is to actually figure out a way for your product to grow organically. Because I think like you can do everything to kickstart the momentum, but if you have to work as hard to keep the momentum going, then I don't think it's a great or like effective or efficient way to work.
So another question for you, right? You guys have successfully raised funding. How much have you raised so far?
So we raised $300,000 in our seed investment October of 2021. So that was like a month after we monetized our product. And since then, it's just been our seed investment and our revenue and our and some government funding sustaining us. And we have a comfortable runway of 17 months left as is. But we thought, well, if we got investment and got additional funding, we could scale our growth a bit more, which is why we're currently doing like a second seed round as well.
So you have some like brand name people who gave you the first round. Who are they? Would you mind mentioning them? If that's okay.
KB Investments.
KB Investment
Um,
Bank, right? Which is like one of the biggest banks here in Korea. How long did it take you to raise your first round?
we started in late July and closed by October. So 3, 4 months.
Okay, so that's like normal time period. And how many
Three,
people?
four torturous months.
Well, that's what it is, right? I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
you don't know. And one of the things I tell everyone is like, whenever you're fundraising, like, have in mind that you need to at least go towards 300 no's to get one yes. And
Mm.
so, how many people did you pitch approximately until you found somebody who said yes?
Oh, like in our seed round for the one, yes, emails I can't even count, but the actual number of like offline face to face meetings would have been at least 20 to 30.
Okay. That's a good number. I think you guys got pretty lucky. So, what was the most challenging part about fundraising?
For our team, particularly, the biggest challenge was defining the problem that we were solving. And we started by like identifying a need in the market without like fully understanding where that need came from. So we spotted an opportunity and we thought we could come up with a product that filled the gap and did it successfully, not without realizing fully like why. And then that really came out when we were trying to convince investors that what we are making and what we're doing is worthwhile. So in a way, like fundraising was a great opportunity for us to grow as a team. And it really, I think, I guess that was like the first time that we were asking those sort of like entrepreneurial questions to ourselves.
Right.
So that was the biggest challenge and the biggest lesson we learned as well.
So, what advice would you give to founders who are like just starting to fundraise?
A lot of like young founders, especially, make this mistake that they talk about their product way too much, but it's not what investors are interested in. And I think understanding what investors want to hear from you is really, really important. It's not about what features your product has. It's not about like why this is so great, but it's about like how the market is and what sort of opportunities are there for you in that market and why you guys are the team who could do it essentially. For every like investor meeting that we attended, we would always sort of record our pitch or take notes and time ourselves and analyze it later. And then, like, after doing that, after a while, we realized, oh my God, if we're pitching for 20 minutes, we're spending 15 minutes of it going through our like each feature that our product has. And then after attending 5 or 6 of these meetings, we got skilled enough to sort of like monitor and analyze the reactions of the investors. And then we started to realize, okay, after 3 minutes, they lose interest.
Yeah.
So yeah, so be really analytic about your meetings as well, and like how you talk, how much time you're spending as well.
Yeah, I think one thing we need to realize, and I've seen this a lot whenever you're giving lectures or whenever you're talking to somebody, human time span and to focus is really short. And I think it's becoming shorter and shorter with the introductions of short form content, right? With TikTok coming in, Instagram stories, we want information quick and we want it fast. And I feel like it's better to keep it short, simple, to the point. And there's no long to have these long 10-hour pitches that are drawn out. So with that said, let's do a hard turn towards some numbers. What is your churn rate now?
Yeah, it's actually quite high for a SaaS. It's at 30% monthly,
Mhm.
and something that we've been very aware of, but have strategically not been addressing for multiple reasons. And our actual growth target is to increase retention by to up to 80% by the end of the year.
Okay. So why are you not like focusing on the churn rate right now?
It comes from understanding the behavior, not only the needs, but the behaviors and the tendencies of our customers, as well as the strengths and the weaknesses of our product and the way that our customers interact usually with products like ours. So we're a survey software, and unlike products like Slack or Notion, it's really easy for customers to switch to another solution in the market. So survey software market as a whole is a really fragmented market. It has multiple there are multiple big players and really, really low level of customer loyalty towards a particular solution. And the only way to increase customer retention is by really, really embedding our solution into their everyday workflow. So automating everything, integrating with every other solution. So we've always been aware of why the retention has been so low and how we could fix it. And that comes from interviewing our users as well as analyzing the strategy of other SaaS products.
Mhm.
And after figuring that out, we thought, okay, like this is what we need to do, and this is when we will have enough resources to do that. And for us, that's like later this year.
Okay. So tell me like one of the most challenging times you personally faced with the company and what did you do to overcome it?
The biggest challenge that I faced was actually figuring out how we could work as a team between my co founders and I. And I think it was particularly harder for us because we all took it very seriously. We all took this relationship very seriously and this commitment towards each other very seriously, that we wanted to make it work. And we put a lot of effort into making it work, which meant we went through a lot of like hardship and fighting to make it work. So, I mean, it was challenging because a lot of emotions and a lot of fights were involved, but not really challenging at the same time because we all had an understanding of we are fighting now because we want to make it work. Other than that, I'm gonna be that like annoying person who says it has been hard and has been challenging, but I've been like I enjoyed the journey so much. I've been like having so much fun that like I can't really pinpoint a moment where I wanted to ever quit.
No, I think that's the best part about entrepreneurship, right? A lot of times when we start a company, we get throughout the process, like it's really amazing. We all feel happy, but throughout, like sometimes
Mhm.
I've seen founders lose their soul on their way. And
Right.
what I tell everyone is we chose this life. We could have had a simple 9 to 5, right? What we
Mm.
always tend to think about is the end goal is like when we have the $1 billion and when the company exits, but we forget about the journey and the process, not realizing this needs to be fun, right?
Yeah.
That's why we chose to do this. If you're not having fun, why are you doing it? We talk about founders. So I want to ask you, how many people do you have on your team?
We have 3 co-founders and then 6 other people on team.
Okay, so like 9 people in total. And then so 3 co-founders, right? What are each of your superpowers? What are each of you are focused on right now?
So our CTO, bless him, has actually been developing and building our product single-handedly from day 0.
Right.
Lot of, like, development engineering debt that we have to pay off. So he's now been focusing on creating like a collaborative development engineering system so other engineers can help him out. So that's him. That's our CTO. And then our CEO, he's like the product guy of the team. He's the creative engine of the team. He's the one with the vision and the ability to inspire people and motivate people. And then I'm currently focusing more on strategizing and analyzing, being more, I guess, being in charge of boring stuff or being the potty pooper sometimes and be like, well, like, this is good, but we gotta hold this, calm down, slow down. And these are all like other boring laundry list of things that we need to get done for us to actually
Right.
potty and have fun and go crazy. Yeah.
Okay, so that's great. And what I want to ask you is, what are your goals for the next 5 years?
As a company, our biggest goal is to really, really establish ourselves and become embedded in the whole SaaS ecosystem. So we don't want to be like a standalone product that has to stand on its own, but we really want to create synergy with all the other SaaS solutions. And that means also being accepted as part of this community or ecosystem, being deemed a worthwhile product to be neck and neck with solutions like Slack and Notion. So that's our goal for the next 5 years, establishing ourselves as a household name.
Okay, that's great. All right, so I think we got done with the main questions. Now we're gonna head towards a more of a softball round. I want to start
Right.
like a rapid fire round, right? What would
Okay, gosh.
quickly tell me like in one word as quickly as you can. I think I'm gonna set a timer here. It's gonna be for like 90 seconds. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, so timer started, 90 seconds. All right, so one product under $100 that changed your life.
Notion.
One thing that you'll tell your 18-year self.
Honestly, don't worry so much about the future.
Okay. What existing business or startup do you wish you have founded?
Slack,
Okay. One thing that helps you deal with stress.
cardio, running, marathons.
Okay. If I were to say the word successful entrepreneur, what comes to your mind or who comes to your mind?
Someone who inspires other people.
Okay. One thing you never leave your house without.
My phone.
Okay. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Ability to not sleep and remaining energetic.
Okay. So essentially becoming a robot. All right. One person you would have dinner with, dead or alive.
Dead or alive, Confucius.
Confucius. All right. That is, wow, that's pretty great. Do you have any advice for someone who is looking to start on this journey called entrepreneurship?
Yes. I think this goes ties in with what we were discussing, what you were saying, hey, we chose this life. I
Mhm.
think if you are starting your journey as an entrepreneur, you really, really have to come in with certain set of expectations of how hard it's going to be, how slow your path to success is going to be. Also, if you're going to be a leader, you have to understand the fact that being hated and being the person that everyone sort of bitches about, you're never going to have certainty. You're never going to know for sure if you are doing something right or if you've made it at all. And you have to be okay with all of the above. Like, you just have to accept that as the norm and just sort of accept it at the beginning and never think twice about it in your journey because you have no energy to waste on thinking about those things.
And let me ask you this. If you weren't the founder or if you weren't building the startup, let's say entrepreneurship didn't existed, what would you been doing?
I would have been a lawyer. Human rights and nonprofit projects have been a huge part of my life,
Mm.
and that's what I always dreamt of. So, not like a corporate lawyer, but I would have gone to law school, majored in some sort of law, and had gone to work at a nonprofit or maybe even the UN.
I think that's not a bad career choice. I feel like that's a really honorable path to have. Again, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm really looking forward to more of these in the future. So thank you, Claire. You have a great rest of the day.
Okay, thank you for having me. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye.